What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host, the show of Metric Scout Fantasy Football, and I'm here to talk about Isiah Pacheco. I'm here to talk about his Dynasty Fantasy Football value. I'm looking around the internet, the interwebs, and his value is increasing immensely. And I'm not going to give you the advice on whether to buy or sell straight up, but I'm also going to just give you some analysis of what to do with an asset like this that is trajectorying so rapidly to the moon so quickly, or at least perceived that way, and how to handle this, because there's some FOMO going on, there's also some FUD, and it is just hard to navigate an asset like this because you don't know when the drop-off's coming, you don't know if there will be a drop-off, you don't know if he goes to the moon, you don't know if this becomes stagnant. There's a lot that can go on with Isiah Pacheco right now in Dynasty Fantasy Football. So let's look at this chart I made, and don't laugh too hard, but I think this is going to help you out a little bit. So I made this chart here. So on the left are rookie pick values. 4th round, 3rd round, 2nd round, 1st round, and then to the moon. Obviously, there's more into trading than that, obviously, but we're going to go off of that for this point. And then to the right, I just have bottom, peak, and then the downturn. And really, you can make this graph however you want it, but I tried to make it simple, and it looks like a child made it. I did this on Microsoft Paint. But looking at how I feel and from what I've listened to from other fantasy football podcasts, other people talk about him, and I feel like when you look back at ADP, you look back at recent trades, they're just not relevant. If it happened 3 days ago, it's not relevant because the price keeps increasing, it keeps fluctuating, and really from league to league, you just got to kick the tires on it and see what happens. Where it says it's risky, not worth, I'm talking about like mid to late 2nd round rookie pick and later 3rd round, 4th round, because those hit rates for those players that are being drafted there, the hit rate's so low. You're wishing to get an Isiah Pacheco like bounce after the draft and in training camp with some of those players. You're wishing to get that. So why make that sell? It's like, say I'm burning him to a 3rd round pick after I just got him in the 4th round rookie draft. Why make that sell? Like you're not really getting much out of the 3rd round other than another lottery ticket that's maybe a little bit more glorious than the 4th round. You just burnt to get Pacheco. So why not just wait a little longer, see what happens, and maybe you can sell that on the back end. The hardest thing to do here with a player like this who is increasing value this rapidly is just timing the market. Right now we have the sweet spot from what I'm gauging from chatter on Twitter, because league to league, this is going to be rapidly different. In some leagues, he's a 2nd round pick. Some leagues, he's a 3rd round pick. Some leagues, he's 1st and more. A lot of leagues, he's untouchable. He's all over the place right now. But what I'm gathering is the sweet spot here to be able to get a deal done somewhere in the middle of the 2nd round on up to like the middle of the 1st round. It's going to be hard to sell Bijan Robinson for him. It's going to be hard to sell one of those top running backs, those top wide receivers, maybe even like a CJ Stroud in a 2QB league for him. You're not going to be able to get that. But that middle to late 1st, it's going to be somewhere in the sweet spot range for some people, because that's part of the market. That's where it's trending towards. The more I hear that's being leaked on other podcasts and stuff. And where you want to sell, it depends on how you want to play it. And this is how you feel you want to manage your assets here. You either want to sell right before the top, because one is the easier thing to do because you do not know where the top's going. It's easier to time, and you just get to a price point like, hey, that's it, I'm out. And if he goes to the moon, I'm good with it. I'm making my decision here. You sell for a 1st. Sell for a 1st and a little change. I saw a trade on the trade finder over at dynastyleaguefootball.com. He went for a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round rookie pick, an entire draft. I've seen that. People just paying up for it. So there just comes a part where you go, you know what? I'm just going to sell. There's also a part, it's a little bit more riskier. You hold your line. You see if he goes to the moon. And if he goes to the moon, or he's really close to the moon, or he's around that moon area, you sell. And I'm talking about top tier asset, and you're able to leverage him for almost whatever you want. On the flip side, say he is next Tyreek Hill or whatever you want to call him, he stays at the moon, and you got an asset there that can be fantasy relevant, giving you top tier production for years on end. That is the risk of that. On the caveat or devil's advocate of that theory is you sold for the moon, so you got the moon back in return. You got good prospects, good players, good assets, so you can live with that if that happens. Another thing, if you want to play it safe in a different way, is just see if he goes to the moon or see how high he can go. And as he starts coming down, you got to time it perfectly, but start selling then, right when it happens. And there's a chance there's a dead cat bounce that he just bounces back up and becomes a moon asset. But the odds of that's not very likely. We don't see many players do that. However, you got to time this perfectly, and you got to be quick, and you have to have the right managers in your league willing to accept this asset. It may not be at first round territory where I haven't marked that. It could be at high end second, bottom of the half of the first round, but you're still selling at a decent price point where you're like, you know what, I'm out. Things are looking good. I saw a few things on tape. I'm a little skittish. I'm selling. So it's really depending on the point you're willing to sell at, because this asset is moving quick, and it can move down really quick. It can move to the moon really quick, and that's Isiah Pacheco. People are talking him up big time on the markets, and the peak is going to come sooner than later because it's going to happen this year. If he's going to hit, he's going to hit now. If he's going to hit, he's going to hit like week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to happen soon because the speed, the short area quickness, the burst, once that starts getting on the field, him catching balls, he's in this high-powered offense, that's going to hit sooner than later. Are you going to be waiting to the moon? Or are you going to be willing to sell at a certain price point? What's your cutoff? Your cutoff might be in that sweet spot that's currently in trades right now, where people are talking them up right now, where some trades are going on in the market right now, or a little bit more. Or are you willing to hold to see how high it gets? This is just the type of gambler you have to be with an asset like this. And if it was me, it just depends on my team, my portfolio. I think some assets I'm willing to hold to the moon. Some assets I'm willing to sell off for maybe a first or maybe a low-end first, whatever I can get. But it just depends on my league. It depends on how many assets I have of a player like this, because we'll have more players like this come along that will just jump in price like this, get the hype, and a lot of different things are going to happen. We've seen it before where they just went to the moon and they stayed there. We also seen them just go up and then crash. And that's just part of it. That's part of the game. That's part of time in the market. And you just have to be willing to know what kind of risk you're willing to take on, what you're willing to put on this asset, how many chips are you willing to lay down, and what is your risk tolerance for this dynasty team. Like, if you're going to sell him, like, how much are you willing to come back and return? Are you really going to be able to handle the FOMO that comes on if he does hit to the moon? Are you going to be able to handle paying up for him? Because that's what's going to happen now. And then also, you need to be active right now, seeing if you can catch your league mates napping, which there are fewer and fewer leagues by the day that are napping on him now. 3rd and 4th round rookie picks should be almost unheard of, but it's probably happening somewhere, since there's millions of dynasty leagues, or hundreds of thousands, or thousands, or how many. There are some that's going to happen. There's probably some of you watching this channel that might be able to pull this off, but the price is increasing. 2nd round pick-ish is the sweet spot, but that's going to be moving in the 1st round for the sweet spot. But a lot of people are expecting 1st round pick value from what I'm hearing from podcasts, people on Twitter, and everything else. But let me know what you think. Where are you buying at? Where are you selling at? Where's your entry point? What are you doing with Isiah Pacheco right now? Let me know in the comments. Everybody wants to know, so we can get some conversation going. Maybe we can get some more player value discussed. But let me know what you think. I hope you loved the graph that I made. I tried to make it a little funny for you. But make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I have more Dynasty content coming at you. More film review, more camp highlights, everything. Whatever I can throw at you, I'll throw it at you. But I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next vid.